Getting your way around in Ableton can be a real pain, but it doesn't have to be. Let's have a look on some of my top secret tips and tricks that you can start using to make your experience in Ableton much smoother. Let's go! When I learn this shortcut, I get additional months to my life. Many of my students are stunned when I show them this feature. Imagine you want to make a certain part of your track just a tiny little bit longer. Of course, copy-pasting everything would take ages to do, especially when you have heaps of automations already made.
That's what I have too. Or maybe it was past.
I have this track intro, and I feel like it is lacking about 8 more bars to get people dancing just for a little bit longer. All I need to do is to click on the grid, just where I want to add additional 8 bars and hit Command-I or Control-I on PC, or just go to Create and insert silence. Type in the number of bars you need and hit OK. Now you have extra room for your build-up without losing any automations. Alternatively, you can highlight the exact amount of space you want to add, and again, you guessed it, Command-I or Control-I on PC, or just go to Create and insert silence. And now you're good to go. This one in particular works the opposite way. You have a part of a song you feel like is dragging on for too long? Well, Ableton got you covered. Highlight the part you want to get rid of and go to Edit and Delete Time. And just like that, you save valuable minutes you could spend on, for example, watching your favorite YouTube video. And while you're watching it, give it a like. You are in a hurry. You need to finish your new track to play it on a gig in a few hours. The panic sets in. You see the whole world fall apart.
Please, panic.
Easy, bro, easy. You can do this. How about copying the whole intro and use it as an outro and then quickly modify so you have at least something to show for. Highlight a part of the track you want to copy. Click on the top bar so you can see the whole loop light up. Command or Control C, move to where you want this part to show up. Click on the top channel in your arrangement and hit Command or Control V. But wait, you forgot to unlock the automation. Well, no worries. Just undo with Command or Control Z, unlock the automation and paste it again. Ableton secretly copied all the automations just in case you forgot to.
The aluminum, so anyway.
Now just move things around a little and let's rush to the stage and play it out loud. Each of us likes to have things done our way. Things that make our production easier, faster and smoother, and in Ableton this couldn't be any easier. Let's say you like to have an EQ set up with low cut and high cut each time you drag it on the audio or MIDI track. It's super easy. Set up the EQ to your own preference. Just right-click on the top bar of the effect and pick Save as default preset. This works virtually for any Ableton audio or MIDI effect. And when this option is missing, you can always save the preset you like and reuse it in future. I personally love doing this for my instrument tracks. There is no faster way for picking a good bass line than loading the one that you know worked perfectly in your last track. This one I figured out recently, and it is absolutely mind-blowing, and I feel ashamed not using it sooner.
Shame! Shame!
Imagine you have a bunch of tracks you want to be able to modify all at once, like turning the volume down, add send effects, or just whatever you find appropriate. Well, just highlight the tracks you want to be using Command and Control and clicking. Then right-click on any of the tracks and select Link Tracks. Now, whatever you do on one channel will happen on the other instantly. Don't worry, the values, for example, for volume will just adjust accordingly in respect to previous setting, even when you reach the lowest or highest value. So it doesn't matter if you go above 0, when you go back down, it's just gonna adjust perfectly. We're halfway through, so if you made it this far, comment below. And if you'd like more content like this, consider subscribing. Are there any files you use often like effects, snare rolls, or anything else? Ableton is great in saving the settings of your samples. After you import your sample, warp it to its original BPM, set volume, or anything you need, and just click on the Save button, and the settings are saved. When you start up a new project, this becomes very convenient since you don't have to go through this lengthy process again. All your settings are saved and you are good to go. Now, you have just spent time working on a sample, you added your delay, your reverb, an EQ, and maybe a plugin that eats up a lot of CPU. Best thing you can do at this point is to freeze and flatten the whole channel with your sample in it. Now, you can freely copy and paste it around to project or save it to your own sample folder in case you want to use it again in the future. I personally do this very often for loops. I just freeze and flatten and voila, I have a brand new loop as a clean audio file to use in my track. Are you working on a track together with someone else and you need to send them the full track, making sure everything will work at their end? The best way to get this done is as follows. Save your project to a brand new folder. This way you are getting a fresh file with no samples inside. During production process, you might have created frozen files or consolidated files. You might have deleted or changed, so this will make sure your project is free of clutter. After that, go to File again and select Collect All and Save. Most of the time, you won't need the factory packs, but if you want to be sure, you can take that option too. And when you're done, just upload it to Dropbox or WeTransfer and send it to your collab partner. This way, he gets the project in a state that you exactly left it. Let's say, halfway through your track, you will decide you must change your kick, because the one you use is just not punchy enough. You used a wave sample instead of a MIDI, and now you're again spiraling in a sea of anxiety thinking you have to do this one by one for eternity. No worries, sit down, feet on the table, and let's do this. All you need to do is double-click on a sample, right-click inside and choose Manage Sample File. This will open a file manager. Your sample is highlighted. Just click on the drop-down arrow and drag and drop your new sample. Now just a little note to this. All samples will always be replaced from start of the sample. In case you picked, let's say, a hi-hat from a loop and you hot swap it for a hi-hat one-shot sample, you might end up with a strangely cut sample in the same place as the previous one. So use it with care. Now let's go to my favorite one. In Ableton 12, you're genuinely receiving superpowers.
The Aquaman. I hear you can talk to fish.
Especially when it comes to chord progression. Enter a new MIDI track. Click on the MIDI generative tools and at the drop-down menu, select Stacks. For start, add in 4 stacks. On the first one, our root will be a C note. Next one, let's go for A flat. Next up, maybe E flat. Finish with a B flat. This is incredible. Full-on chords in few seconds. And the magic doesn't stop there. On each chord, you can choose the variation and inversion for more maturity and professionality. So click on the little arrow on your selected chord and set your variation. You can see what is the chord name, like here you see we have a C minor 5, C minor 7, C minor 9, and so on. This tool is truly a superpower, especially for people who don't really understand the music theory. This way, you not only create amazing chords for your tracks, but you also learn the chord names, which will come in handy in future. So these were my top 10 tools in Ableton 12 that save me heaps of time and make my music production process way smoother. Let me know in the comments which were yours and if there is anything you want to learn next. Thanks for watching and see you again. Ciao.